Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
How to unite SEO writing and link building? I think it's important today to know because many things are coming. We have AI, new technologies. Google might change the game, and Google often updates their algorithm and as many other search engines can do. So it's excited to know more about uniting writing and link building. It's important today or not, where we need to pay more attention. And I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Hrenciuc Daniel. How are you?
Hello, Anatoly. I am very good. And I want to thank you very much for having me on your website podcast. You have a
Nice.
very, very beautiful website. I've checked out some other podcasts, and it's quite an honor to be here, Thank you very much.
Yeah, big pleasure, because I like to learn more about that. I'm student on this lab, and many people think that I have this podcast for the sake of selling something. No way, guys. Okay, I can sell my course, I can sell my services, but my main point to learn. So when I learn from other speakers who can share something new, lead me in the right direction, I can provide much better services to my clients. That's why I recommend to anyone to listen great episodes to learn from our speakers. And before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and why you pay so much attention to SEO writing, link building, and the whole SEO.
Okay. Well, I've actually I started my interest in marketing because I had a band, and I was very interested in about the marketing aspects of it. Because without marketing, it doesn't matter how good you are in something. You're not gonna get to many places, no matter how good you are. You have to stand out somehow for marketing. And
Mhm.
as I was doing music, I'm also very passionate about writing. I joined the Faculty of Letters and studied the English language. And then I wanted to start doing freelance gigs. And my first job was related to writing history articles. I had a client on Upwork that had a website dedicated for students. And he posted a gig on Upwork, and I applied to it because my father, he writes history books. And I tried to use this into my advantage to get the job. I wrote a good proposal, I think.
Mhm.
And he hired me, but I didn't know anything at the moment. This was 5 years ago. I didn't know anything about SEO or none of that stuff. And so I started writing. And when I write, I always put myself in the reader's shoes. I think about why does the reader search about that thing? What do they want to find out? And what do I know about that thing? Because if I don't know about the subject, I shouldn't write about it, until the research is done. And I found a pretty good way of writing an introduction to the historical articles. The target audience was, college students and people that just wanted to have a good grade on their exams and stuff like that. So I think about how I studied the subject, and I try to incorporate this into my articles. And let's say I had a topic to write about World War One, and I thought about how can you write an introduction to such a big subject. And I thought about implementing in the introduction the events that led to World War One, then talk about World War One, what happened, and at the end, the aftermath, to sort of write like a summary, an aftermath of what happened because of those actions and consequences. And
Mhm.
after that, I got the client liked so much the articles that I wrote for him he hired me to write for an astronomy website called Nine Planets, which was interestingly one of the first multimedia websites on the web. And there, oh my God, I think that was my biggest project ever because I wrote over 200 articles for that website. Every one of them ranked. Some of them ranked even above articles from National Geographic or even NASA.
Nice.
And this is without any SEO knowledge, if you can believe it. So, yeah.
Nice.
And
Love
I
it.
think I think the primary reason for that is I try to be creative. I try to write differently the topics. Like, for example, if I had to write about the planet Venus or Mercury or anything related to astronomy, I used some mathematical equations to make some fun comparisons between planets and stars and something that I didn't see on the web. And I also try to keep the reader in mind, because in a lot of astronomy articles you have different values. You have miles, you have kilometers, and 5 years ago I don't think many people paid much attention to these sort of things. And the reader, for example, if the reader was from Europe, they would see miles and they wouldn't understand, okay, miles, what does that mean? And I always try to integrate both the value in miles and in kilometers, or when it came to temperatures, I wrote them in Fahrenheit, in Celsius, in kelvins, and made different comparisons. But apart from this, I also tried to integrate cultural aspects about planets and stars and how different cultures perceived it, what they meant to that culture, what is their place in certain mythologies. So I tried to combine, astronomy with mythology, with history, and I wrote some articles that were over 10,000 words long, and they all ranked.
Great,
And
great. Love it. Awesome.
yeah,
Nice,
and
nice. Yeah. By the way, if you like to write about history, you can write about history in Ukraine when Ukraine will
okay,
win this war. Russia will lose. By the way, I don't think Russia will lose. Mr. Putin will lose, but Russia
yeah,
will get freedom. Ukrainian can help with that, and the whole world can help. So looking
yeah,
forward to learn from you, from your history. And let's talk about more about ranking. I like it that you mentioned about creating something different.
yeah,
It's a big issue. Many webmasters, they only replicate, copy their competitors. And when they send me text, and tell me, I got 100% uniqueness with this tool. No way,
yeah,
guys. Nobody cares about this 100%, 200%. I don't care about that. For me, it's more important to be unique in your context. It's not like if
yeah,
you rephrase some words, change sentences. Yes, you can cheat tools, you can cheat, but you can't cheat users. You can't cheat Google, because Google cares about what people can tell and how they can consume your content. And it's the same, I often ask my friends about a new movie, and the most common reply, nothing special. It's the same plot. I watch many the same movies. It's totally the same with online content. When people can
it is.
find the same content in the top 10 results, why they need to consume one more? It's not interesting. You need to bring something new. Can you tell?
Exactly.
You mentioned that you uh, like to be creative, and you mentioned that you provided comparison in your content. How you found that your users need it? They want to get comparison with probably different subjects, articles. I don't know. Just tell more about how to find these ideas to be unique and different.
Yeah, like for example, when you're writing about, I've seen that some popular topics that come up in astronomy are related to how big are some stars, and it's very hard to comprehend their size or how hot they are. And not many people make comparisons to let the audience actually know what they're reading about. And for example, I read about a huge star that was like 20 times hotter than our sun, but there was nowhere on the internet already stated. That thing was never stated. And I simply did the math, I did the math and said that star is 20 times hotter than our
Yeah.
sun, or 20 times bigger. And it's interesting what you say about movie plots and content, because when I was in college, I also observed this thing. I wasn't necessarily a good student, but I understood the subject. What I didn't understand is why many teachers, they they don't come up with an efficient method of teaching. And there's a reason for this, because the books that they write or they try to sell to students, they are also more or less simply some rewritten topics, and they rewrite it in such a way to not plagiarize other works. But when they do this, they make the topic so complicated and hard to understand that you don't want to even learn about it. So this thing about rewriting is an issue in both the real world and the digital world. And I don't know, many people just don't want to be creative anymore. They just want to, follow some, how to say it, uh, follow the same rules, the same. And I never like this. I never like this at all. I hate everything that is superficial and doesn't bring something new to the table. And like, for example, ChatGPT. I was recently hired to rewrite some articles written by ChatGPT. I was like, wow, this is like the same article I can find in 10 pages. There was nothing different there. Right now I'm working for a big marketing company, on the map marketing. And we work with a lot of lawyers and try to help different people that have legal issues with car accidents or injuries or real estate issues. There was one client that had an article written with ChatGPT that I checked it with Grammarly, and it was plagiarized. It was very, I don't know, out of context. And at the same time, I don't think ChatGPT understands how certain laws apply to each other. Because, for example, if you are in a car accident, the insurer will want to lower your claim so that they receive a laser settlement for your injuries and the property damage. And this is what ChatGPT also says, but it doesn't tell you, like, for example, if you didn't have a seatbelt during the car accident, the insurance adjuster will use that to intimidate you into accepting a lower settlement. But if you know the law in certain US states, you can say, and this is actually the truth, you cannot use the fact that you didn't wear a seatbelt during an accident to lower someone's compensation claim in court. Yes, insurance adjusters can use this to intimidate you, but it isn't necessarily a legal thing. And ChatGPT doesn't know these things. They just tell you generic information, and that's about it. Can't rely.
Yeah. I think ChatGPT is a great tool if you use in the right way. For example, you can use SEMrush or Ahrefs or many other tools in their own way. For example, just to open keyword research to get high volume keywords and create pages with these keywords that have 1,000 others articles, pages that have authority, trust. It's hard to overcome them. It's the same with ChatGPT. This tool is not a golden button. You can.
No.
Yeah, if you ask ChatGPT, please write about weight loss, you can get just what you ask. Article about weight loss. But if you ask something special, for example, I like how Elon Musk played with this tool. He shared on his Twitter, and he asked hard questions. I spent a few times to read his questions, on ChatGPT, because he provided many details, and ChatGPT replied to this question. The first thing what you need to do, just to ask the right questions with many details. The second, of course, you need to provide something new, unique, because this tool can't. And for me personally, I don't use this tool for writing. I use for editing. For example, if I can construct a new sentence, a new paragraph, I can ask, please help me. My thoughts is here. Please write for me something, generate text. And that way, I can use this tool. But I can't use this tool to write anything, because even if I play with commands, this tool is great for translation. I love it. I translated a few texts from English to Russian, Ukrainian language, and accurate, awesome. I don't need to edit even, so I saved some money with translation. So you need to find how this tool can work for you. It doesn't mean that this tool will be a golden button. Click and get everything what you need. So you need to play, to analyze, and if you want to be creative, just write yourself and ask ChatGPT to edit. Just to edit, to provide grammar. I usually ask like this: here's my text. Please edit, simplify, without losing the main point or meaning. So I can get great editing. I analyzed this editing with some proofreaders. I sent to them and asked their opinions. They told me, wow, that's great, good. So why not? If you can use like this. Okay, let's talk about SEO writing more. I like that you when you write, you try to be creative, different. But can you tell how to write for people and for search engines? Because I found some great text, very valuable text, are not ranking. And in the end, we can't ignore and forget completely about Google. We need to add keywords, in the context. It's not for the search engines. It's more for users. But we need to combine these keywords with search engine results. Then Google will understand much better. So any insights how to do it? I mean, like to write for a human being and for search engines.
Yeah, sure. I use the tool Surfer SEO, which is very useful in finding out keywords, relevant keywords, and also to analyze your competition, and then to also audit your pages and see what you can do to improve them. But to write both for search engines and people, you always have to prioritize the people first and the search engine second. That's my opinion. And for example, if you have a website, let's say about dealing with an emergency situation, such as a car accident or whatever, you have to give the answer as fast as possible to the person reading it. Because if you introduce a lot of fluff language, it will be bad both for the reader and for the search engine. So you have to find a way to integrate certain keywords in the introduction and then throughout the text in such a way that it doesn't feel robotic or forced. You have to find a middle ground. Like, for example, if you have a hard keyword, attorney Miami, let's say. Now, this is very hard to integrate in the text because it sounds robotic and it kind of creates some readability issues. But I found some ways to go around this. Like, for example, I wrote, you should speak with an attorney, Miami has some of the best car accident attorney. And those keywords I integrate in Attorney Miami. I integrate, I don't know, a backlink or authority page or whatever the client wants me to. If you find a way, there are plenty of ways to do this, but it comes with experience. I've written for lawyers, for other creative people that work in such as bloggers. And the hardest part is to find a balance between how often should you introduce certain keywords and, not bore anyone as they read. And I think you should also, when you finish writing an article, you should read it at least 2 or 3 times. And that's the moment when you'll have some sort of intuition if, hey, this sounds weird, or this is like reading something written by ChatGPT, or you have that intuition. That's what I go with all the time.
Yeah, for me, sometimes intuition works better than logic, because,
Yeah,
when you have this experience, when you can feel the text. So I found that many influencers, they have this intuition because of extended experience,
yeah,
So I remember when Jeff Bezos replied to his employees about a new product. Research team brought data. He analyzed data, and they asked him to give more time because it's not enough time now to research about this product. And he denied. He told, "No way,
yeah,
guys, nobody knows. We need to test it. We need to analyze how it works." And this product called Alexa. Almost all homes in the United States have this gadget, Alexa. We have another Google Home, but it's interesting that Jeff Bezos had intuition to do it, not
yeah,
to overlearn, to get a lot of data. Sometimes, some data researchers told me it's better to have enough data than over data, because
yeah, yeah,
it,
correct.
yeah, so you sometimes don't know where to go. Okay, let's talk about simplicity and personalization. I found some interesting quotes. For example, if you can say something in 50 words instead of 100 words, you need to do it, so you don't need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
extend. I cooperated with few copywriters who, by the way, who wrote for big publications like Investopedia, and they asked me about the price for a word, or 1,000 words. I denied. No way, guys. I'm not interested to work with that. I know why. Because people, when they charge for 1,000 words, they want to write more, and most of these texts are fluff. I usually deny to cooperate with such people, but I check out experience. That's great. And I agreed to pay even more, but for an article. Forbes never pays for a number of words, because journalists can spend time to research, and when they write article and it's viral, people love it. So yeah, it's success, not how many words you can add there. Can you tell about simplicity? How to simplify content? How to write in 50 words that you can write in 100 words? Because, I remember Mark Twain said about that. I have no time to write short message. That's why I write long message or letter. So, any insights about that?
yeah. Yeah, well, I use Grammarly, which helps
Mhm.
me reduce the wordiness of everything, and I also use a tool called the Hemingway app, which also highlights any wordy words, or it, I use them in everything I write. But the thing is, you also have to consider your audience, because, for example, if you're a girl and have a blog, you can be more worthy, because your audience is gonna listen to everything that you're gonna say, not necessarily because they care, they just want to see you, and that's all. But if you have a company or something more serious, yes, you have to be more formal, and you have to be say the most important thing is to, when you write very worthy, you lose the reader's interest, and you have to think about answering their question as fast as possible. And at the same time, you have to create this sort of thesis, antithesis thing. When you say, like, hey, the sun is orange, but did you know it's actually white? And then, how is the sun white, And then you go on to say, because of environmental things and our perception, and if you see it outside our atmosphere, it is actually white. And be as direct as possible. Imagine like you're talking to your audience like a friend. You you immediately can feel if your friend gets bored because you drag more and more about something that he's not interested in.
Yeah. And what about personalization? How to personalize the message? How to learn readers, customers before creating craft any copy for them? Because I check out some studies online. We have huge bounds, at any articles, books, videos, audio podcasts, because it's not what people are looking for, and so, can you tell how to personalize your copy according to readers' preferences?
It depends on what client I'm working with. If a client has a well-established audience, I analyze former articles on their website. I also analyze how the competition treats its target audience, because it's more or less the same. And you can sometimes, you can watch videos on YouTube or other platforms, see how other people talk to similar audience, but you also have to analyze the comment section, because there people tend to be more, I don't know, direct about how they feel about the information presented to them. Some will say, hey man, you could have told me the answer I was searching for 10 minutes ago. Why did you have to make a 1 hour long video or something like that? And if there are plenty of people like that, then you know that your target audience wants their answers as soon as possible. And when it comes to personalization, if you have a new website and you don't really have an established target audience, again, you also have to consider a target audience that is similar to your competitors. You have to check them out if they have a comment section, see how they interact with the content. And you can, in certain fields, you can be more formal in your language, but generally, you have to avoid passive writing, because passive writing is also bad for SEO, especially if you want to rank in Google snippets or that sort of thing. But it also, from a reader's point of view, let's say Native Americans, they don't actually prefer passive writing. They always prefer active writing. And this also helps you to be less wordy as well, because passive writing always implies a lot of wordiness.
Yeah, interesting. And I want to talk about link building or promotion. Sometimes we can create great copy, awesome copy. Everything looks fine, but Google doesn't care. We can't get results. And because of lack of promotion, even the best content online should be promoted. People need to know about existence of this content. And can you tell how it's important link building today? Because it's interesting that I know some people who don't use link building. They rank well, not
Yeah.
they're good, but I check out their websites. They have authority. They have this benchmark, good benchmark. Probably Forbes, not probably. Forbes doesn't need link building because of this authority. Wikipedia doesn't need link building. Many other big websites, even Neil Patel told that he doesn't provide link building because he spent so much time before to get this, to earn these links. And many people, writers, authors, they can write link worthy content. So they can get these links naturally. So any tips how to unite new articles with link building, and how to find, do I need link building or not?
Well, it depends on what niche you're writing in. In my experience, when I wrote for the astronomy website Nine Planets, I didn't use backlinks uh, as much. I focused more on internal linking, and every time I mentioned, I don't know, Sun, Earth, Mars, I always put the link from the website in those anchor texts. But and it ranked because the owners in 2018 they sold the website for over $1 million. Yeah. And I was amazed because okay, uh, I didn't do no back links at all, only internal linking, and it worked. I'm not sure how, but it did. But then as I collaborated with other clients and as time went on, I've seen that uh, internal linking became much more important, and I try to focus on occasionally creating infographics or slide share presentations or other forms of visual content. And I try to mention like statistics are very important, especially in regards to law articles. If you're going to mention a law, you have to link it to a very authoritative website that ends in .gov or .edu or something similar. But you have to think about the logical structures of your content. Uh, I also work for someone that has a geology website, and he had a topic about how to find gold in nature.
Mhm.
And I said to him, you can do some very good interlinking here because you can also write about gold panning techniques, and you can link to that page as well. And you can also do some interlinking with you know s- products on Amazon on gold metal detectors or other equipment, and it worked really well. If you write high quality content, you're more likely to get backlink offers, or you can pay for them directly. It strictly depends on how well you rank. And if you write high quality content, some websites you can mention them, but you can use this tactic to not include necessarily a link to them. And they at some point will contact you to say, hey, will you introduce my link because you mentioned me? And then you can establish a relationship with them and work forward into creating other backlinks or interlinking opportunities.
Yeah, you remind me this science alchemy. When people try to create gold from stones.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about things that I often do. I made a lot of such things, mistakes. I keep doing
Okay.
them, but I love learning from them, and because nobody knows what exactly will work, so we need to test, experiment to find what will work for us. Can you list common mistakes that webmasters still do by creating content and promotion online, and how to find a much better way?
Okay, I think a common mistake, um, it's not necessarily very important, but it still affects your SEO results, is the usage of copyright-free images. I think that if you use a copyright-free image, you don't have any assurance that, I don't know, tens of other websites will use that same image and again and again and again. And I think that affects your rankings more or less. You can try to buy some copyrights to some images so that you can have exclusive access to, or you can take some photos yourself and update the alt text and put keywords in them as well. Another issue I see very frequently and a big mistake is that people Even people that use ChatGPT don't realize that the structure that ChatGPT provides to you, or when you are researching your competitors, we often make this mistake of making the same structure to our articles. And sometimes it works because it depends on what type of site you have. If you are a small dentist firm, dentist clinic, the structure doesn't really matter. But if you have something more international or anything of the sort, you have to come up with something different, you know. And I worked with a client that he was a dentist, and he said to me like, right, I want you to write for me things about pain. My customers are afraid about pain. Everyone is afraid about pain when they go to the dentist. And I researched the competitors, and I also seen that they also talk about pain again. And I was thinking about, okay, is this the only reason why people avoid going to the dentist? And I spoke with someone that had some dental issues, and I say, hey, why don't you go to the dentist to solve your issues? You have money, you have everything, you know. Are you afraid of pain or what? And he said, no, but I am ashamed of my condition. And I thought about this. Feeling ashamed and the reason for not solving your issues. And I spoke to this dentist and I told him, hey, you know, I think many people don't come to the dentist not because of the pain, because they're feeling ashamed. And then when I wrote the article for him, I created a different structure where I tried to emphasize with the reader. And I told them something along the lines of, you know, a dentist sees all sorts of people with various issues with their teeth. So there's nothing to be ashamed of because no matter what you have, they probably seen something worse. It's more important to get your teeth fixed, you know. And he actually got some more appointments after those types of articles where I emphasized with his readers.
Nice,
Go
nice. Yeah. You unhide it why my son hates dentists. You know why he doesn't want to go. It's not
ahead.
because of shame. It's because of pain. He can create this feeling, and he always replies to me, "I don't want to go. I'm scared about this pain. Let's
Yeah.
find another way." So it's pity I don't know about another way.
Yeah.
So, uh, okay, let's talk about your experience. You mentioned that you started to write 6 years ago, not a lot. You know, people can write for a long time, but you get these ranking positions, you get results. Can
Yeah.
you tell what you do, how to improve writing skills? And for example, if you started from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills, completely from scratch, what will you do today to learn about writing and write great texts that will rank?
Well, I think the most important thing is to read a lot of articles, and I had at some point a team of writers that I tried to train, and I've seen this thing. You know, if I give you this website, can you write something better? And they made some very big mistakes, and I simply couldn't understand. I mean, it's not like I ask you to write to paint a painting, you know. With writing it's a bit different. You see something and you can more or less produce the same thing, but they simply didn't have that experience of writing hundreds and hundreds of articles. And I think the most important thing is to always read other articles, even if as a writer you get very fast a burnout sensation because you have to research a lot, and at some points you don't want to read anything at all. And in that case, you can focus on listening to podcasts or other types of videos and see how the host talks about a certain subject and other things. And you can try to implement that into your own writing as well. I also I didn't write only content articles. I also focused on writing some ebooks, but mostly in ghostwriting. Most of my works are through this method, to ghostwriting. And I think that if you always challenge yourself to write something new, you're going to evolve somehow. At the same time, the moment you know when you're a creative writer is the moment when you have, and I have had this issue. Let's say I had to write the same topic 20 or 13 times. Now, how do you write the same topic again and again and again without plagiarizing yourself? And this is a very good test of creativity. If you can write about the same subject in 10 different ways with different structures and still make it interesting and engaging, the moment you challenge yourself to do this, you find all sorts of different ways to put the same words in a different way.
Yeah, awesome. By the way, I always tell anyone who wanna write that if you can't write something better, then don't try. Just
Yeah,
skip it. Find another topic.
yeah,
We have so much outdated information. We have
yeah,
a lot of content that you can update and provide something new. But if you see high quality content, if you don't know how to improve it, skip it, forget, find something else.
yeah, yeah.
So I completely agree with that. And the last my question about the future. Can you tell what kind of future will be, predict this future, and how people can adapt today to this future?
To the future of AI or writing in general?
Writing and SEO.
Writing an SEO. Oh, okay. Well, you always have to think outside of the box. That's my religion, so to say, because as we have today Chat GPT, we're going to see a how to say this. Many people will have similar writing if they use this tool or other tools, and you shouldn't rely on this for your writing all the time. You should always try to uh, create your own type of articles and come up with new structures with implementing tables in your content. And if you don't find information about a topic, you should visit a library. You should use online libraries. I had some real estate articles where I had to talk about some neighborhoods I never visited before, and there was no information about them on the web. So what did I do? I used Google Maps. I wanted to analyze those neighborhoods, and I saw that they were green neighborhoods. They had plenty of schools, restaurants, and I had to imagine myself being there and actually visiting these places, and then write the content in a way that will make people contact a real estate agent to buy a home there or something like that.
Mhm.
I think you have to stay creative. That's the thing, because with the implementation of AI, I think people will become a bit less creative, and that will affect their SEO rankings in the end.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, because creativity is the most important element. It's interesting. I read an article about a book. The author of this book, Lloyd Richards, he wrote a book. The name of book, Stone Maidens, and he published this book in November 2012. He couldn't sell this book for more than 10 years, so for a long time, like
Wow.
11 years without sales. Then his daughter, 40 years, she published content on TikTok, on account without followers, zero followers, about this book. Then this video became viral. Plus 50 million people watch this video, and
Wow.
today this book is the bestseller on Amazon. So
Oh
without
my God.
marketing, without sales,
Yeah.
so the author couldn't do anything with this book. He wrote a great book, but marketing didn't provide results. Then when his daughter published this TikTok video, it's bestseller on Amazon, a lot of sales, and many big publications speak about this book today. So because of creativity, I watched this video. Guys, it's not the best ever design, just simple design, simple.
Yeah.
But that was creative. It's interesting. Creative, that it's interesting to watch. So the best way, what you can do, stop copying others. Be yourself. Create something new. In writing, in video, in audio podcast, just be yourself. Because, for example, in audio podcast, how can I copy Joe Rogan? It's impossible because I have different personality. It's hard to copy Joe Rogan. I can't be the second Joe Rogan, but I can be one Anatoly Litovsky. So it's a big pleasure to get in my show, to learn from you. You share a lot of valuable insights. I need to go to emergency room, to consume all this information, to spend time. So tell our audience the best way how to keep learning from you, how to reach out to you, how to follow you.
Well, you can find me on Upwork. I'm a top-rated freelancer there. You can find me on Surfer SEO's content writing directory. Or you can reach out to me at Hrenciuc.Daniel@yahoo.com. And if you want to work with the marketing firm that I also work in, On The Map Marketing, you can contact the contact director, Chelsea Fox, at chelsea@onthemap.com.
Nice. Guys, you can find all these links in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Love all your valuable insights. Guys, thanks a lot for listening and watching us.
Thank you.